Well, hello, dear friends from Almaty, Kazakhstan. So I thought I'd just do a quick tips, tricks, heads up for anybody planning a trip to Kazakhstan and to a lesser degree, Kyrgyzstan. So the one thing I wanted to talk about is renting a car here. So I had hopes that I would give a good review of the place that rented me the car that I used on my trip here. Unfortunately, I wasn't really happy with the car, mainly because they gave me a car that basically the tires were totally bald. And because I picked it up at night, I didn't notice the tires were bald. So most of the trip I was concerned driving the car because there was really literally no tread. For that reason, I'm going to decline to give the name of the car company that I used and that I used for rental. The car was fine. It just added an extra layer of concern that I don't think was necessary. Anyway, now that being said, I just wanted to touch on a couple things about the car. Most gas stations here, you can pay with a credit card. You won't have a big issue with that. Most rental car companies will say that their car requires 95, which is, premium, more expensive. So when you pick up the car, just verify that it indeed needs 95, and if in a pinch you could put in 92. Once you get out of the city, you might have a hard time finding 95, and 92 is a little bit more plentiful and cheaper. Just clarify it with the car you're renting that it can take 92 rather than 95. Second point, you really don't need a four-wheel drive here. Maybe 5 years, 10 years ago, probably you needed an all-wheel drive. Nowadays, the infrastructure is good enough. You can really drive both Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan, most of the main areas in a regular passenger car. So don't feel like you need to spend the extra expense for like a Land Cruiser or something, unless you're going specifically off-road. But if you're hitting just the major tour points, the canyons, the lakes, that kind of thing, you can get to all those places. There's a few that you may want to rent and have a driver drive you up and back at the site, but you don't need a four-wheel drive and the added expense for the entire trip. Another point, traffic here is insane. It's probably as bad as I've seen, just in terms of recklessness, annoyance, people riding your bumper, people passing you on entirely unsafe circumstances. So take that into mind. People drive like maniacs here. And if you're used to more organized traffic in a more westernized country, you may find it a little difficult to navigate just because most people drive like 20 miles over the speed limit when they can, and they will tear around you in the most unsafe ways. So I've found that to be true. The traffic in Almaty and Bishkek is terrible. There is gridlock in most areas. Both of these major cities are over capacity. So you're going to find in certain times, certain areas, it's just bumper to bumper. And so it's really not a great place to drive around in the city unless you're off the regular traffic hours. So just keep that in mind. The other thing that gets mentioned often, which I have found to be true, is that the police are overly aggressive in terms of pulling over tourists and extracting bribes from them. Now, this is a really unfortunate thing that I have to mention, and I hope that at some point this won't be the case. But let it be known that if you're driving in a car and you don't look like you're from here, you'll probably get stopped by the police. I got stopped twice here, and I drive like somebody's grandma. So I had to pay a fine, quote unquote fine. It was basically a bribe for a very minor, I don't even think it was an infraction, but it was a very minor thing that they basically tried to make me feel like it was a huge deal. They were gonna take my license and all these things, but they first demanded $100 US at what they called a spot fine, which is basically a bribe right on the side of the road. And I convinced them to take, like $18 or something. But it leaves a terrible, vibe for anybody traveling to a country for the first time to be, just just used by, the government in that way. It's really disgusting. And it happens in other places besides Kazakhstan. I didn't find that in Kyrgyzstan, honestly, but I did get stopped twice in Kazakhstan for what seemed to be non-reasons, and just as an opportunity to maybe extract cash. So let that be known. That's not a secret. If you've done any research about traveling here, you're going to find the same thing on many blogs. But I guess I'm just confirming that it's still the case here, that if you're driving in this country, that you'll probably have a run-in with the law. And the best thing to do is smile, be agreeable, and try to pay as little bribe as you can to get on with your day. But that's just sort of the nature of things here. I've found that you can use your credit card. If you have a Visa card, you can use it pretty much anywhere, as long as you're in the city. Most hotels, even outside the city, will take your card for payment. So payment is pretty easy here. The big cities are really just beautiful. They're really clean. They're really well kept. Every morning, if you're out in the walking around, you'll see people sweeping the parks, picking up, trash. There's lots of garbage cans for trash to go in. So you'll find it's a very orderly city, very clean city, both Almaty and Bishkek, both. So you'll find it's more like a European city where, people line up and know what a line is, know what a queue is, respect that. The people, Kazakhstan, to a greater extent than Kyrgyzstan, I feel like are a little bit more reserved, a little bit more dour. You will not get a beaming smile when you enter a business. Oftentimes, you'll get somebody that looks. I don't know what the look is. It's like it's almost like a side eye, kind of like you're suspect kind of look. For whatever reason, I get that a lot. I don't think I'm a suspect, but I get a little. Just the fact that people, maybe it's, larger cities like this, how in Paris, they just are kind of done with people showing up, not speaking the language. That may be part of it here. But what I found is that a lot of people, you'll get the minimum emotional interaction with stores, hotels, that kind of thing. I did feel like people were a little bit better mood in Kyrgyzstan. So for whatever reason, Kazakhstan seems a little bit more dour, and Kyrgyzstan a little bit more upbeat. So for whatever reason, that's the case. It's funny, you'll find some squat toilets here, and oftentimes here they don't have any bidets or washing water guns in the bathroom. So if you're used to traveling in Asia, where you find that in every place you stop, there isn't any spray hose or anything here. So just be aware that you'll be back to toilet paper pretty much exclusively. The cities are full of green spaces, so lots of parks, lots of green spaces to walk. But I have found that the air quality is pretty tough in the cities, especially. Both Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan are great countries to visit. You'll find a wealth of natural beauty here. The cities are really wonderful, really well laid out. So the food here, it's very specific. It's not really my cup of tea. It's very heavy, lots of breads, sausages, bread at every meal, sausage. There's some noodles with beef, lamb. I haven't found any pork here, which is interesting. So beef, lamb, chicken, pretty much exclusively, probably because of sort of the Turkish Islam influence. So you won't find pork pretty much anywhere. I haven't seen a pig here. Overall, I've really enjoyed my time here. I think the bright spots, if I was going to have a list, would be just some of the amazing natural beauty that you find outside of the cities, the canyons that I've highlighted in some of my videos, just some of that diversity, right? You go from these beautiful alpine lakes to what looks like, the Grand Canyon. I think the cities are a real highlight with the architecture and the culture. And so, I definitely think that Kazakhstan, and both Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan, deserve a visit. And put them on your itinerary, and try to embrace everything that these countries have to offer.